हेलो हेलो
पहले भी शो था।
देखो क्यों लॉगिन करना कुछ
तो लिंक भेजा मैं
नहीं बचा
ये मैं ज्वाइन करना है फिर लिंक को करना। हाँ जी सर। सर कोई कर रहा हूँ
दिन पूछ रहे थे
स्टार्ट कर रहा हूँ सर एक मिनट करके फिर आ रहा हूँ।
अरे
ठीक है हाँ वही कर लेंगे करूँ चालू करूँ
नहीं ओके
ओके this system the microphone अच्छा
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
गुड मॉर्निंग।
उसका यहाँ से अच्छा वीडियो है सर अब कीजिए
गुड मॉर्निंग सर। दिस इज डॉक्टर शंकर सिंह।
Good morning, sir.
Okay, participants, we will start with our next session.
Thank you for accepting our invitation, sir.
Yes, sir. It's my pleasure, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
So participants, we are going to start with our first lecture. With our first lecture on outcome-based education, genesis and path ahead, by Dr. G. Janardhanan from NITTR Chennai. So before starting this expert lecture by sir, let me introduce our expert and guest. Dr. Janardhana is a professor of civil and environmental engineering and Dean Academic and Search. He's also head and center of academic studies and research at the NITTR Chennai, that is Institute of Technical Teaching, Teacher Training and Research, Chennai. His doctor research is from University of Illinois, USA, and bachelor and master degree from College of Engineering, Gunini Anna University, India. He has over 23 years of research, teaching, and consultancy experience within the country and abroad in the field of civil, environmental engineering, and engineering education. His, his research expertise includes water quality analysis, lake front development and remediation, development of MOOCs, accreditation, academic quality framework and academic auditing, learning spaces, blending approach, active and experimental learning, sustainable development and education, urban environmental management and smart cities, solid and hazardous waste management and landfill engineering, life cycle assessment and sustainable construction material. His research and training programs are funded by the ITEC, DST, World Bank, MEA, Ministry of Education, PWD, and several prominent state, government, and industry. Dr. Jana published around 45 research articles in international and national journals and conferences. He have been granted as a patent by GOI towards manufacturing artificial aggregated from waste. Dr. Jana have coordinated more than 23 international training programs and trained around 400 international delegates from 68 different countries across the world. He has coordinated more than 200 training programs and trained more than 1500 participants. He have developed and offered 6 MOOCs with education, Institute of Engineers India, Younger Engineering Award, UIAC, ASC, Geo Congress, Traveling Grant, American Society of Civil Engineering, Lyon Section, Geotechnical Award, Swiss Federation Institute of Technology, Fellowship, University of Lyon, Doctor Fellowship, Higher Secondary School, First Score, IITB, FOSSEE, National Geo Spatial Faculty Fellow Award. He served as a member in National Committee while setting up a virtual university with Ministry of Education and Grant of Aid, Pedagogy and Scheduling. MOE GUI UGC, he is in MOE GUI UGC Selection and Employment of Video Producer, member of AICTE, NEET, AICT Atal, AICT Vani, AICT, and IEEER. He served as a assessor, evaluator, and auditor in national accreditation bodies, NBA, NBAL, and state universities. He is member of American Society of Engineering Education, American Society of Civil Engineering, International Water Association, Indian Society of Technical Education, Indian Society of Training and Development, Indian Geotechnical Society, National Solid Waste Association of India, Institution of Engineers India. He extensively traveled within and abroad for technical lectures by Institution of Engineers India. He extensively traveled within and abroad for he has visited USA, Germany, Belarus, China, Hong Kong, Singapore, Thailand, and Malaysia. So we have a very eminent personality with us, and I think all the participants, we will gain lot in our OBE first lecture. So handing over to you, sir. Sir, please.
Thank you. Thanks, sir. Thanks, Sunil Kumar, sir, for inviting me, and thanks to the entire team for organizing such a important workshop, which is going to be the need of the hour. As you all aware, in current day scenario, we are discussing about outcome-based education. Predominantly, what do you mean by outcome? Why we need to discuss about outcome-based education? Everything we will discuss in detail. I will just share the PPT. Picture in picture I will go so that I can see the audience. Open picture in picture. Good morning, and it's happy to be online to discuss about outcome-based education. So, why we need to talk about the genesis and the path ahead? Is it anything different at present? We are going to face it. Is it going to be the same, or is it going to be the difference? That's a question which you might be asking to you and to yourself. So, because as you all aware, the Government of India, in the fourth year anniversary of National Education Policy, National Board of Accreditation has launched this new SAR format. So you can look into it, how the format has changed and how the focus is need to be there. Because previously we were discussing about outcome-based education. Now we are also focusing on competency with the outcome-based education. Why there is a need to include competency? That is the reason in path ahead, I am going to discuss about competency. Genesis, I will tell you how it all started. How it all started. Myself, Dr. Janardhan, I am working with NITER Institute under Ministry of Education. So before starting the lecture, I express my sincere thanks to the entire coordination team because they were asking several mails because sometimes I forgotten to reply. I thought I have replied, but sir was continuously like a Bhagirath Prayatna. He was continuously following it up and he made it. And thanks, he started an exclusive WhatsApp group to put an update to the speakers and what are the things which we should remember, everything. Thanks a lot to the team. And before starting the lecture, in this lecture, the content expressed are purely my technical perspective. It does not represent the organization with which I am affiliated. So I have shown a different set of pencils, Let me start my lecture with this colorful pencils in the manner. What we mean by outcome-based education? Because since it's online, I don't want to be a one-way traffic. I myself will be speaking. Others will be just a listener. I just wish to listen from the audience. What exactly you mean by outcome-based education? What is your perspective? Because outcome-based education is not something new to the country. From way back from 2012 onwards, the Government of India, NBA, National Board of Accreditation, made a tremendous impact in the country for the past 12 years. The impact which has made from the nooks and corners of the country and promulgating the concept of outcome-based education. And jovially will tell what education system in India it exists. Some people will tell income-based education. Of course, it's income-based education. But even if it is income-based education, we focus on outcome-based education. What exactly you mean by outcome-based education? I request the participants, feel free and put it in the chat box. What from your mindset, what comes to your mind when you listen to the term outcome-based education? I request the participants, feel free to put it in the chat box, please. I request the participants to put it in the chat box so that I can visually see what you are just typing in. I request the participants to just put it in this thing. What exactly you mean by outcome-based education in the chat box? Let me see. Oh, chat box is there unless they are print. Okay, in call messages. I request the participants kindly express your views. What exactly you mean by outcome-based education? Can anyone can type if possible? 45 members are there. What do you mean? When you feel the term outcome? First set the outcome you want to from the curriculum and then set curriculum keeping in mind those outcomes. Fantastic, Dr. Amita Gandhi. Jayanti Pandey, education that delivers envisaged desired outcome as per the skills needed by the course. Fantastic. Gagandeep sir told it means that we are trying to get new things in education like re-evaluation or new initiatives. Okay. Like evaluation and new initiatives. Okay. Okay. Fantastic. Fantastic.
Hello, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm listening, sir. I'm listening, sir. I'm just reading the comments of the participants. Okay, fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. Only 3 participants have given, not a big issue. At least we received from 3 participants. I'm very happy. Let me go to the back to the presentation. So, what do you mean by outcome-based education? The fundamental definition of outcome-based education is learning is fixed, learning time varies. That is the fundamental definition provided by Professor Spaddy, who is claimed to be a father of outcome-based education. I am repeating once again, the learning is fixed, learning time varies. For example, this is the set of pencils we have. Maybe we can draw a line. This is the line. Learning is fixed. This is the learning which we expect the students to possess at the time of graduation. Learning is fixed. Learning time varies. Why we should give the learning time varies? Sir, there is no time variation. Sir, everyone have to complete within 4 years or 3 years. Time is fixed. No. Now if you see the National Credit Framework, as per NEP, National Education Policy, previously 1 credit is equal to 15 teaching hours. We were always focusing from the teaching perspective. Now, 1 credit is equal to 1 to thrice, that is 15 to 45 learning hours. We call it as a notional learning hours. That is the reason Government of India does 1,200 notional learning hours is needed in 1 year, where the person can go from one level to other level, NCRF level. We have to be very clear. Previously, when we defined credit, 1 credit is equal to 15 teaching hours. 3 credit subject means 45 teaching hours, 42 to 45, we keep it. Now, 1 credit is equal to 15 to 45 learning hours. Why there has to be a variation between 15 to 45 hours, sir? Fantastic. All the learners may not learn at the same phase, sir. I will tell you, when I was in US in 2004, 4-5, I was doing my PhD degree, doctoral research there. So when I was doing there, I was driving a car because I have to drive around because my field was in Rockford, where I have to drive and I have to go and do some sampling work and sensor measurements. So from university, I used to travel every 15 days once. I used to stay there and do the working, and then I have to come. So when I was driving, I was listening to a Tamil song. Vellai Pookal Amaithikagave Malarattume. It is from A.R. Rahman's music. But when I listened to that song first time, it was showing Vellai Pookal Amerikagave Malarattume. The meaning is, let the white flower blossom in America. I was thinking, why they have to tell America? What is the reason for white flowers in America? I was thinking. Then I repeated the song 2nd time, 3rd time, 4th time. Then I got the meaning. Let the white flower blossom for peace. Amaithikagave. But you remember certain music player, when they make the voice, the clarity in the word, sometimes it might be different. So first time when I listened, it was like Amerikaga. Then only I came to know that it is not Amerikaga, it is Amaithikagave. So that is the way which I learned. So I learned it 2nd time, 3rd time. There might be some people who might have learned in one single shot. But there might be some people who might take more time. That is the reason teaching hours, 15 hours means there might be some very bright, active, innovative students who will learn in 15 hours itself. There might be some students whose DNA are like that, I will take 45 hours. Nothing wrong in it, nothing wrong in it. Because outcome-based education predominantly focus the learning need to take place. The learning is fixed, learning time varies. Learning is fixed, learning time varies. If you observe, these are the colorful pencils. This pencil will take X time to reach this line. But this pencil will take X plus 1. X plus 1 minute, X plus 1 minute. This pencil will take X minus 1 minute, X minus 1 minute. But ultimately, everyone has to reach this line. Some people pencil would be over smart, they might have already surpassed. No problem. So the learning is fixed, like this learning line is fixed by the university, by the system, in terms of syllabus, curriculum. But the students, they possess only entry level same. 12th pass, only minimum they are same. But still there exists a difference among them. That you have to remember. Still there exists a difference among the learners. So all students are from not same caliber. They all came through the same gate where they possess a minimum expected qualification. But still the difference exists. This difference in exists need to get acknowledged during our teaching learning process. What we call as a personalized learning or differentiated instruction. Personalized learning or differentiated instruction. In outcome-based education, there is a scope for personalized learning and differentiated instruction. As a teacher, how it is possible to have a differentiated instruction? Sir, I have only 15 hours to teach. Why I should spend a difference? For that only, National Education Policy 2020 in the chapter number 23 clearly talks about technology tools for teaching learning process. How the technology tools could be used. National Education Alliance for Technology, Professor Anil Chandrasekhar sir, chairman, they are making a wonderful initiative in bringing out a technology to facilitate teaching learning process. It is not only to facilitate teaching learning process, it also facilitate assessment process. Because generally I used to tell, lecturing is very, very easy. But correcting the answer paper is very, very tough. Similar to cooking is very, very easy, but washing the utensils is very tough. In US, there are research scholars are there who have been provided TA and they will be correcting the answer papers, assignment papers. But in India, we never have. Similar to some house, they have a servant maid. Some house, they may not have a servant maid. Because cooking is easy, washing the utensils is tough. Sometimes we can use dishwasher also. Technology. Similarly, technology could be used to facilitate in teaching learning process and also in the assessment process. So outcome-based education, predominant definition is learning is fixed, learning time varies. Learning is fixed, learning time varies. That is the fundamental definition of outcome-based education, sir. Fundamental definition of outcome-based education. Then comes. So the great teachers are made, not just born. So over a period of time, only as a teacher, we should be having a passion towards joining the journey. So let me put it. In the outcome-based education, there is no question of are you qualified? Are you qualified? There is no question of are you qualified, because outcome-based education predominantly focus on all are qualified, because in output-based education is different, outcome-based education is different. In a recent, if you see the NBA, this thing, they are very clearly given. Previously, we had only 200 points. Now 220 points for the faculty, because 120 plus 100, I think. 220 points they are giving for faculty information and faculty contribution. So that's the way the powerfulness of the outcome-based education, because there are 3 different accords are there. Washington Accord, Sydney Accord, Dublin Accord. Outcome-based education predominantly revolves around Washington Accord. This outcome-based education was structured based on the graduate attributes. Before starting the outcome-based education, I'll just tell the genesis of the story of the outcome-based education, sir. That is the reason genesis I told. What is the genesis for outcome-based education? Because outcome-based education, you should remember, there is no question of are you qualified. In outcome-based education, all are qualified. It all started with the, yes sir? Any doubt? Is it everything fine?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Because sometimes when we see online, we don't know whether the audience are listening or not, but still, I kept a picture in picture, but still, if any doubt, you can raise hands also, sir. Immediately you can raise hands and we'll be happy to answer it. Okay. You know, outcome-based education, there is no question of are you qualified, all are qualified. The genesis is very simple, sir. It all started with the launch of a satellite known as a Sputnik by Russians. When Russians launched the satellite, the Americans thought what the education system Russian is having. So they are far ahead in space technology. So they formed a committee under a headship of William Spady to look into the school education system. School education system. Because this outcome-based education system started with the schooling, so they want to reform, transform the school education system. So which came the outcome-based education, where the outcome is fixed for the what you expect from the students. So that's the way the outcome-based education came. But if you see the genesis of Sputnik, it is not like our old Gurukula system, sir. Old Gurukula system, the student might join on Vijayadasami to the class, but they may not graduate at the same time because the teacher knows when the skill set of the students are there, accordingly the graduation were fixed. You remember, even Sudama, Krishna joined in the same Gurukula, they were have a different perspective of learning. So the learning is different. Even myself, my brother, we both joined Mritangam at the same time under Vik Vinayagar, but my brother excelled in a very different manner when compared to me. That's different because the reason is the learning is different, the passion is different, but the learning is fixed. Learning is fixed. These are the minimum criteria which they need to possess. So that is the way the outcome-based education came. But when we fix the outcome-based education, we expect some item which is known as a graduate attributes. Attributes which the graduate should possess at the time of the graduation. Because if I study engineer, I need to possess certain attribute. If I am a law student, I need to possess certain attribute. If I am a medical student, I need to possess certain attribute. That is what they call it as a graduate attributes. Irrespective of the graduate attributes, if it is from the same school of system, things should be same. If it is aloo paratha, the attributes are same. Wheat, aloo, masala, salt, water, oil and gas. But whether you make it at Chennai or you make it at Delhi or you make it at UP, the aloo paratha is going have to be same. There could be some subtle difference, but it has to be same. That is what the graduate attributes. The attributes are fixed, irrespective of institution what you enroll. There are 12 graduate attributes. Are there 5 related to your technical competency, 7 related to your professional competency. As an engineer, I need to have some ethics. I need to think about the society. I need to think about the environment. I need to have a good communication skill. I need to know how to manage the project. I need to work in a teamwork, collaborative manner. I have to work. So all these attributes, and I should also have a lifelong learning attribute. Because now, after graduation with the same degree, you cannot make your job for next 30 years. All those time period, golden time period have gone. In between, as a teachers, take a computer science teachers, they might have studied something different. Now the technology is growing. The lifelong learning attribute goes in a different perspective. So that is the genesis, the graduate attributes. Graduate attributes. So outcome-based education, fundamental definition, learning is fixed, learning time varies. All are qualified. There is no question of are you qualified. The individualized difference, personalized learning is possible in the case of outcome-based education. Is it clear, sir? I hope things are clear. Okay. So this is some classrooms because generally I have a habit when I go to NB or as an accreditation expert, whatever the classrooms were there, everything I take photograph, lot of photographs which I connected them. This is one of the very famous institutions, a very famous institution. They got 6th year in the Tier 1 category itself. Very famous. In a casual manner during lunch break, everything, I go to the restrooms, I go to their classrooms. I went to Mumbai, very old institute, very old institute, very old institute in Mumbai I went. When we went, I have written, seen in the table chair, I hate exam, I hate exam, I hate exam. The student has written and he has striked several times. I was looking into that this thing and I was making, I was very happy, different. You remember? The students, this is one such institution in Hyderabad, very famous institution, a very famous institution. They have a good admission, they have a good credit, everything. But in the classroom chairs I have seen, the students have scribbled a lot. I can give a zoomed picture. You see, whether they did the scribbling during the classroom session or after the classroom session. What is your view? Whether they did the scribbling during the classroom or after the classroom. During the classroom or after the classroom? Okay, no one is telling. Obviously, this scribbling has been done during the classroom. Why they should do after the classroom? They don't have any other work after the classroom. They want to escape from the classroom. That time, sometimes we make fun. Since attendance is mandatory, the people are sitting. Otherwise, no attendance, the people will not sit in your classrooms. So, not all classrooms, but just general. I'm just generically. So, the students, why they are doing? Because the concept, because they are bored with the learning environment. I have seen this art symbol in several things. The people are from engineering background or school background. They put art like this. No one knows art look like this. Art. You remember, the students, they are bored in the learning environment. They are completely bored in the learning environment. They don't know how to do it. But how to go about it? Let us together explore the future of education, because outcome-based education, and at present the Government of India, the laudable initiative by National Board of Accreditation, the competency-based education, competency-based outcome-based education, really gives a new direction to vibrant Viksit Bharat. So let us together explore the future of education, together explore the future of education. But when we explore the future of education as a policy maker, education administration, we should remember one important thing. The students are completely blindfolded in learning, sir. Completely blindfolded. If you tell this is comes for the exam, this comes for this thing, job, no, they no. Bhaiya, chhod do. Ye to exam mein aa raha hai, nahi. You tell. If it comes for the exam or not, then only I will read it. Because the students, somehow or other, they are focusing more on Palashruti rather than the Shruti itself. What will be the benefit I get by studying this unit? What will be benefit I will be getting by taking this elective? Whether job will come or mark will come, that is the reason. So that is the trend which we have set somehow. That is the reason now we focus on decolonization of curriculum. Decolonization of curriculum. So instead of a compartmentalized based education, we have to focus on holistic based education. Decolonization. So no more silo approach, sir. No more silo approach. You do physics, chemistry. Studying separately, the students are in the one way or other way, forgetting to connect the dots. That becomes a big problem. So how to go about it? That is, the students are completely blindfolded in learning. If it has come for the exam, they will make it. Mark was in the Chadutla. So we have to be very clear how it works out. Whether they are getting marked or they are getting this thing. But where is the key? As a policy makers, as a teachers, who are all the touch bases of the ecosystem change warriors. So we should remember our teaching learning process is the changes. Teaching learning process is the changes, and teaching learning process need to be restructured. And need to be attractive. But you have to remember, as a university or educational institution, we are focusing on institutions to be accredited. So other institutions which are not accredited, we know. But we always will accredit institution, knowledge, quality students will be there. The good jobs are also there. We are not telling other institution doesn't have. But institutions which are getting accredited, always they have a say different, because International Engineering Technological Agreement or Agreement for International Engineering Technicians or Professional Engineers Agreement all clearly tells that there has to be a one which has to provide a recognition in education. That is what NBA is doing, because there has to be a recognition, because this is basically formulated to look into their competency profiles, so that they are recorded and the professional competencies are appropriately evaluated, appropriately taught, and appropriately certified. That is very, very important. When you buy any equipment, we see the compatibility of the internationally compatibility you are seeing. All the symbols, everything electrical, it is same manner. So, but one thing you need to remember, are we doing old things in a new way, or is it a new thing in a new way? Because I told outcome-based education started in the year 1964 by Professor Spaddy. But I told outcome-based education nothing but our own old Gurukula system. Old things in a new way, or is it a new thing in a new way? But in reality, you have to observe, it is our own old system, but put it in a new format which the people likes. Then only the system will accept. Because the same old system, but it has to take it into a different perspective. This is the most important time to take care about. Most important time to be in the education. Now, India is a vibrant, basically because of its own very stronghold education system. Vibrant country. So that too, when you are having a target of 2047 Viksit Bharat, so this is a time which you have to take care about the education. It is not a question of outcome-based education alone. It is a competency-based outcome-based education. Competency is very much focused. So to put it in a very simple analogy, people are driving in India, I have observed. After getting a driving license, they put L sticker and they drive. Whereas why you are putting L? Is it not questioning the authority who was given license? It is not questioning the authority who has given taught you how to drive the car. But still you put, that is what the output based education. In outcome, if you have been certified, it is assured you have a competency to take care of it. That competency only is assured, not the rituals are assured. That you have to remember, sir. But you have to remember, it is impossible to redesign students to fit into a system. I cannot redesign students to fit into it, but I can redesign a system for students. I cannot make my daughter to fit into a breakfast, but I can make a breakfast which really fits for her. At the same time, it is healthy also. It's healthy also. You remember? So that's the way. It is impossible to redesign students to fit into a system, but we can redesign a system for students. So where we are heading now, educational institution does not mean students will learn. 100% you have to remember. No, nothing. Similarly, learning does not mean students will have a skill for the labor market. That is very, very important. So, learning does not mean the students will have a skill for the labor market. And having skill does not mean the students will have a job. It is a complex route. As you think, previously when you study, you will get a job. When you get a job, you get married, life settled. All those philosophy has gone. So, in outcome-based education, it is not question of the skill alone, knowledge alone, or attitude alone. All three together. That is what we call it as a competency. Competency is nothing but KSA, knowledge, skill, and attitude. Knowledge, skill, and attitude. Education institution does not mean students will skill. That you have to remember. But you have to remember, when you want to implement this thing, learning is not the product of teaching. Learning is the product of the activity of the learners. How you engage them, how you interact them. I strongly felt when we implemented reflective teaching in the classrooms, for example, water quality or sustainable development, I used to screen the documentary. Previously, after watching documentary, now in between, I used to ask questions. I used to tell anecdotes, stories. so that the effectiveness of a documentary is increased multifolded. So learning is not the product of teaching. As I told you, 1 credit is equal to 15 hours, nothing doing these days. 1 credit is equal to how many learning hours? 15 to 45 learning hours. How you are making the students to achieve it within 30 learning hours or 15 learning hours, that matters a lot. That matters a lot. That creates an impact in the ecosystem. If a student is taking 1 hour of teaching to learning to 3 hours of learning, either the basic has not been provided appropriately or the students have to need redefined role for it. That we have to remember. So ultimate this lecture, I am focusing on philosophy of outcome based. What are the tools and how to orchestrate the learning space? What are the challenges and solutions? You have to remember, at present we are just making standard classroom is not engaging. Everyone knows. But tutorials, homework, that too is not effective. People are doing ChatGPT and copying and submitting it. What we can do? And even understand the few students only respond. The problem of engagement and effectiveness worsen in the class. That is very, very important. The problem of engagement and effectiveness is worsened to the core, but we have to think about it. It is worsened to the maximum core, which you have to see how it works. So do not attempt to mimic your teacher classroom. Do not mimic your teacher classroom. That you have to incorporate effective learner-centric approaches. Effective learner-centric approach. What is missing? So attention to the learner motivation, because in a community of inquiry model, we tell there are 3 presences are needed: social presence, cognitive presence, and a teaching presence. Social presence. Any individual human being, they want to make their presence excellent. So social presence is very, very important. Emphasizing the social presence will create an impact. Any human being, whenever we are going in a meeting or anything, any interaction, you want to establish yourself. That is the individual. But over a period of time, you will learn that is nothing important. But still, the beginning. So attention to learner motivation, getting learners to express the reasoning, because the awe effect, how you are going to create through learning. Because we did some work with one of the very famous college in Vijayawada. What are the different ways to cheat the teachers in the examination? We did some study by asking the students. They came up with a wonderful examples. We didn't collect their names, but still we collected it. The main reason is, it is not a question of making the students to express the learning. Basically, it is to focus in a different perspective. Attention to learner motivation, getting learners to express their reasoning. Opportunities for immediate micro application. So there should not be basic theoretical approach. There has to be some practical approach, micro application. That is need of the hour, which we are emphasizing. And instant feedback. When you cook something, in between we taste it. So outcome-based education predominantly focus on outcome-based assessment. So to check whether the process is going as per system or not, formative assessment and instant feedback. Then comes explicit activities to foster peer learning. Previously, peer learning was not powerful, but now the peer learning is more powerful. The startups and entrepreneurship training program we tell, previously the students were not trying to help each other, but now they are trying to each other. The peer-to-peer support, peer-to-peer learning really foster them in a better aspect. That is there. And ensure learner connect. Always they have to get connected to the system. So the information is plenty, but where to get a correct information, that becomes a problem. So, but you have to remember, in the current learning environment, predominantly risk embracing because of technology. Even when I tell learning is fixed, learning time varies. The fixed learning, n number of resources are there, but some resources might give a right information, some resources might give the confusing information. As a student, I need to be in the position to identify between the right and the wrong. The risk embracing. Second comes the competition. Competition, what we mean is cooperation plus competition. So now no more competitors. It is a cooperating with the competitors. That is a competition. Third comes the exponential growth and thing. You just see the way in which the Google Meet was there in 2020. Now the way in which the Google Meet is there entirely is different. Now you can conduct poll. Now you can create a co-host. Now you can create attendance, chat box, everything it has changed. So the technology is changing at a faster pace. But the final aspect which you have to remember in outcome-based education, it is thinking local. Previously, we thought our students will be in our region, our country, but it is a global. To put it in the best example, when McDonald's in US, you cannot find a vegetarian item in a McDonald's. It was very difficult for me. That too, if I go to the interior countryside for sampling and everything, I find it very difficult to get a vegetarian food. Subway will not have a vegetarian, McDonald's will not have a vegetarian. It will be a very tough job for me. But the same Subway in India when they came, or McDonald's they came, they opened a separate veg menu and non-vegetarian menu. Vegetarian side and non-vegetarian side. It's a global, but based on the local, they customized. Similarly, our mother's recipe or MTR, Aldirams, when they went with the global, they went with the FSC certificate and global certificates to meet the requirement of their own country. That is very, very important. That is thinking local. Global to meet the local requirement, local to fulfill the aspiration of the global community. That is what we call it as a local. We call it as a local. So that is what we call it as a local. So that's why we work on it. That's why we operate upon it. That's the way we operate upon it. That's the way we work on it. So information is plenty. There has to be a knowledge, has to be created. But as a teacher, we have a more responsibility to connect, because sometimes in self-study should not create a confusion among the students. So that way we have to be very careful. So let us focus on design, tools and management. So part one, design. In principles of outcome based, the students are capable of learning and can achieve higher level of competency when students specify their expectation. For example, here you should know the difference between objectives and outcomes. At the end of the session, if the students, my objective is to teach how to use stethoscope, that is objective. Outcome is, at the end of the session, the student should be in the position to measure the normal and abnormal heartbeat. That is the outcome that you have to remember. Okay. So objective is different, outcome is different. Objective is different, outcome is different. So we have to have a very clearful clarity idea. Objective and outcome. Objective and outcomes. That is very, very important, sir. Educators must explore and they question the art for the purpose and process of learning and schooling. Because the students doesn't come to college or school to take exams, that we have to remember. Assessment is not the criteria. Assessment, because if you see the Gronland, who was supposed to be the father of education, assessment, he clearly told, we have to get rid of this assessment pattern and we have to rely on self-assessment of the students. Self-assessment of the students is a thing which you have to rely. We should get rid of this thing and we should rely upon the self-assessment. Self-assessment should be, we should rely. That is the major aspect which you should work on it. So in outcome-based education to implement, we know what do we want the students to know and do. That we should have a clarity. First question. Second. Third, what resources must be available to ensure that all the students are getting succeeded? Because it is not one individual, it is an entire team. The fourth, to perform well. And the fifth, what should student, teachers, administrators, parents should ensure there is exit opportunities for all the students. You have to remember, here we are not following only the availability or reachability, we are also focusing on equity. Equity for all students, appropriateness, how it operates, and how we have to take care of it. So outcome based is defined as a culminating demonstration of a range of learning experience and capabilities that underlie in a performance context that directly underlie they directly influence what and how it is carried out. That is what outcome. The base, it is curriculum. How you are going to decide the curriculum, instructional planning, teaching, assessing, and advancement. That is what the planning. So outcome and base. So outcome base is to decide, organize all curriculum, instructional planning, teaching, assessing, and assessment of students around successful demonstration for all students. Successful demonstration of for all students. That is what outcome based education. So in outcome based education in OB, we focus in first one, we should have a vision and mission of the institution. When we talk about vision, we clearly look into, whenever we go for assessment, I look into it. A vision should have a three major ingredient. What is the business? What is the purpose? What is the value? Vision should have a business, purpose, value. If three ingredients are there, then I will ensure even NBA document itself we will take and I will tell the vision of the NBA document and I will teach that class. So vision should have a three ingredient. That three ingredient, how you are going to make it, that is a mission of the institution as a whole. But as a department, my individual this thing should get aligned with the institutional value. Here you can see the two terminology we will use differently. One is program educational objectives, and here we use program outcomes. Why there has to be difference? Objectives and outcomes are not one and the same. I told you before itself. Remember, objective at the end of the class, my objective is to teach how to use a stethoscope. Outcome is the students will demonstrate the normal and abnormal heartbeat. That is outcome. So program outcome and program objectives. So we should remember objective is at a longer period, outcome at the immediate at the end of the graduation. So that is the reason program educational objective is after 3 to 5 years, the students who are graduating with the degree, they will be like this in the society. That is what program educational objective. Program outcome are at the time of the graduation, how they will be there and how we have to maintain it. That is what program outcome. And these program outcomes are structured based on the learning outcome or a course outcome or intended learning outcome, student learning outcome. We different terminologies we use. Depending upon that, we have to make use of it. So student learning outcome or learning this thing. So, but there are short term and long term because these are a long term. Mission, program education is more than 5 years, 3 to 5 years. These are all short term, immediately at the end of the course, at the end of the graduation. This is what the program outcomes. So these are interrelated. But you have to remember, so upon subject completion, what we call it as a learning outcome. And upon graduation, we call it as a program outcome. And upon the 5 years after graduation is a program educational objectives. You remember, objective means what you envisage, outcome, what you measure. So that is the reason objective. As a teacher, I will have an objective. And the students, they should demonstrate through their outcome. So that is very, very different because the people are very casually using objectives and outcomes because we teach them. Understand is the word which can come in objectives, but understand cannot come in outcome because understand cannot be measured. It cannot be measured. So you should know measurable, achievable. It should be with some condition, some degree. So that is very, very important. How you are going to make it, that matters a lot, sir. That matters a lot. That creates an impact. That creates an impact that you have to remember. So objectives and outcomes, objectives and outcome. That plays a part. Okay. So outcome-based education in turn goes with outcome-based curriculum. Outcome-based curriculum goes with outcome-based teaching learning, and outcome-based teaching learning goes with outcome-based assessment. So because this education focuses in this direction, you got to remember what the students should achieve, how to make the students achieve the outcome, how to measure whether the students are achieved or not. That is very, very important. This is a diagram, Bowlby framework, which predominantly the people might have seen, and this is just an overview. I'm not covering in detail all those things. But you have to remember, nowadays we are talking in terms of technical and strategic skill, which is needed in aligned with UNESCO, and social and interpersonal skill is also needed. As a student, as a graduate who is working for a society, engineer and society, one of the attribute, he is not only needed technical and strategic skills, he also needed social and interpersonal skills. For that, how he is going to be a supporter and contributor to the society through teachers and mentors, creators and producers, planners and designers, problem finders and problem solvers, performers and implementers, leaders and organizers, team member and partner. So these are the various roles as an individual I need to make it, so that I need to deploy by both the skills as per the UNESCO document. One is teaching technical and strategic skills, and also social and interpersonal skills. Technical and strategic skills and social and interpersonal skills. But if you remember in 2001 when Pope Benedict was making a lecture at Vatican, the people are peacefully, prayerfully listening to the meeting. Even when we go to previously to the God, we all worship like this. Hare Ram, Hare Krishna. We all worship like this. Nowadays, when we go to any temple, nowadays, first thing we are taking a photograph and trying to take a photograph. You remember? Snapshot is the first and foremost thing which we are all trying to do. The reason is, very clearly it is different. Because that's a way which we have to remember. So 2005, we have to remember, it is predominantly, it is spoken. In 2013, when Pope Benedict was delivering lecture, everyone started taking a photograph. You just see, when you were a student, I still remember in 2004, in US, my J students, you should listen key to this. They should see and they should write it and they should correct it. They should not take a photocopy and they should not leave it. Okay, I also thought, okay, it's good because the students, if we put it in the notice board, at that time, this sort of phones were not there. The smartphones with camera, they are not that much popular. I thought the people will come and write and take notes like that, I was thinking. But one day I observed, the students brought that Canon camera and taking a photographs. I was laughing to myself. In 2004, I am telling you. At that time, students are very smart. The students think far ahead. You know, they are taking photographs. We're sitting there and they're taking, correcting. It is not. Because they are all millennials and they are all smart students. They want to use the technology as a natural part of life. That is the new normal. That after pandemic, technology, because you remember before pandemic, even when Logiwala when they offered a lecture, we have to go travel there and deliver. But now you see after pandemic, predominantly we are selecting online mode. So, but you have to remember 3 facts, important facts in outcome based. What students learn is always less than what we teach. That's a fact number 1. But it's a true fact. We have to accept it. And what they learn, it's determined by the native ability, background in the course topic, motivation for taking the course, and match between the learning style and the teaching style. Match between the learning style and teaching style. This is the fact too. But you have to remember, in outcome-based education, I told you very simple. Are you qualified? There is no question. All are qualified. In outcome-based education, differentiated instruction is possible. Personalized learning is possible. So native ability, I cannot change it. Background of the course topic, I cannot change it. Motivation for taking the course, I cannot change it. But match between the learning style and teaching style, I can do it. Remember, I can understand the learning style. Accordingly, I can orchestrate my teaching style. But ability, native ability, background, motivation, everything I cannot do it. So predominantly, as I told you, in the National Credit Framework, 1 credit is equal to 15 teaching hours, or 1 credit is equal to 15 to 45 learning hours. So how best from 45 learning hours, how you are making it to 15 learning hours, that is a fundamental. And not only making the learning it a shorter span, but also making them implementer and innovators by making what they learn into reality. That is very, very important. So when we are making a teaching hour is equal to learning hours, then the excellent teaching learning process have taken place. That is very, very important, sir. So, but you have to remember, predominantly at present, we focus on content-based education. We recommend not to focus on content-based education. We recommend you to focus on context-based education. Context-based. In outcome-based education, when you want to emphasize on personalized learning, individualized instruction, you have to focus on context rather than the content. Context rather than the content. That you have to remember. Context rather than the content. That is the need of the hour.
So, continuing with the treatment of single variable searches, we'll now look at the Fibonacci search method. It basically works on the Fibonacci series. If you recall, in the last class, we wrote the algorithm for any number f of n in the Fibonacci series. The first number is 1, right? Okay. 1. Right, so we use a Fibonacci series in order to divide the interval and choose 2 points. Please remember that always in a single variable search, we use a 2-point test. We find out whether y of x1 is less than or greater than y of x2, and accordingly, a portion of the interval is eliminated. So Fibonacci search method is E.
So this is one method. And second method I'm not skipping. Third
Imagine
method.
a growing plant having its leaves grown one above the other. There is a big threat for the life of the plant by such alignment of the leaf growth. The growth of the new leaf over the old one will act as a barrier for the sunlight falling over the leaf grown below them. Insufficiency of this sunlight will cause a deficiency in the process of photosynthesis, affecting the food preparation of the leaf. Due to the curtailment of chlorophyll, leaf will eventually die. Then how the leaves are survived? What is the alignment of the leaf growth? Let's take, if a leaf grows in the angle of 180 degree, again the third leaf will be grown over the first, and again the same issue causes. And if it grows in the angle of 120 degree, the fourth leaf will again grow over the first, causing the same problem, will act as a barrier, and the leaf will die eventually. To find the angle of the leaf growth, Fibonacci series is used. Let's learn Fibonacci series. Let's take first 2 numbers of the series as 1 and 1. And adding of the first 2 digits as 2 will act as the third number of the series. Similarly, 1 plus 2 is 3 and 3 plus 2 is 5. Addition of the last 2 values of the series will produce a new value, and the series will goes on infinite. And this is called as Fibonacci series. There is another interesting factor about this series. If you try to divide the neighbor values in a descending order, the value will be very close to 1.618. For instance, if you take 55 divided by 34, the output will be 1.617, very close to 1.618. If you divide any larger number, the answer will be 1.618. The value of 1.618 is called as golden ratio. To find the angle of the leaf growth, the 360 degree is divided by the golden ratio 1.618. The answer will be 222 degree. This 222 degree can also be said as 137 degree, where the 137 degree is called as the golden angle. Now let's try to arrange the model leaf in the golden angle which we achieved. The arrangement of the leaf will not overlap to other, giving a space for the sunlight to fall over the leaf below them. If you try to explore, the most plant around us are the trees or the flowers or the fruits are mostly grown in the same angle in the Fibonacci series. The Fibonacci series is also called as God's fingerprint. The Fibonacci series is not only limited in the growth of the leaf, it's also in many major issues. To understand it, we should draw the Fibonacci series in a geometrical structure. So let's draw a square and take it as 1 and another one next to it. The length of the two structure is 2 and square is drawn, and the total length of the three structure is taken as 3, and again a square is drawn, and the total length of the structures are taken as 5 and a square is drawn, and similarly 8 is achieved. If you draw an arc and connect the opposite sides of each structure, a spiral is achieved. It's called as Fibonacci spiral. From the shape of the snail shell, satellite image of a cyclone, and the shape of the galaxy, we can find this spiral.
So why I have shown this video is the content to context. The learning is not the product of teaching, learning is the product of activity of learner. Because when we implemented the flipped classroom, they said 1 teaching hour is equal to 45 teaching hours, 1 credit is equal to. So 45 teaching hours they are sitting, and then at the home we are asking them to read once again. No, we told no need. With Professor Barry Spadder from University of Connecticut, we did some work with several colleges in India. So what we did, 1 teaching hours is equal to 30, 1 credit is equal to 30 contact teaching hours, 15 online teaching hours in terms of blended and flipped, because we cannot make all the students to go home and study once again, only do all the videos, watch the video, come to the class. There has to be a different orchestration of the classroom itself, because we have to accept it. There is a tremendous change in the system which we are adopting, which you have to take set. Because still old Gurukula system, or the way which we studied, way which we had an exam, same system, we cannot have it. It has to be thing which you should remember in outcome-based education. There is no gap between teaching and learning. What you thought has been learned. Not only it has been learned, it has also possess the enough competency to take care of the thing what you envisaged during the learning. So there is a difference between teaching and learning. This teaching and learning difference has been minimized where you meet the requirement. That is what the fundamentals of outcome-based education. That is the reason in Government of India, in the latest guideline, they redefined the 3 important items which you should remember as per International Engineering Alliance. Complex engineering problem, we focus on the outcome-based education. What do you mean by complex? There will not be any simple problem. Obviously, you should remember, because for the past 6-7 years, we are focusing on the difference between complex engineering problem, broadly defined problem, well-defined problem. There is a subtle difference. That's what the engineer, technology and technician comes into picture. Well-defined engineering problems are technician-oriented, which we call it as a Dublin Accord. Broadly defined engineering problems, we call it as a Sydney Accord, which we call as a technologist.
Hello, ma'am.
Complex engineering problem, we call it as a engineering problem. That is, we call it as a Washington Accord. Washington Accord, sir. So the graduate attributes, 12 graduate attributes you have to remember. First, you should have a knowledge. That is what we call it as a engineering knowledge. Using this knowledge, you should be in the position to analyze the problem. What the problem it is there, he has to analyze. After analyze the problem, you should be in the position to design and development of solution. So you should possess the knowledge. Through the knowledge, you should have the capacity to analyze. Not only analysis is very important, we have to design and develop a solution. And design and develop a solution sometimes lead to the complex problem also. Sometimes the problem may not be simple. But to do all those things, you need a modern tool usage. These 5 attributes are known as a core attributes of a technical attributes. Next 7, which are known as the engineer, I need to focus on society. Engineer society, we call it as engineer society, Osama Bin Laden, Fritz Haber. Environment and sustainability. Next role is environment and sustainability. But you not only environment, so you have to work with ethics. Ethics is very, very important. 3 triple E concept we call environment, engineering and society, environment and sustainability, ethics. Then comes the individual and teamwork. I need to work with a team. I cannot be tani manam topagadu. So I cannot be individual. I need to create an ecosystem, individual and teamwork. And I need to have a better communication, not only the oral communication, written communication, so that ambiguity will not be there. Clarity has to be there, communication. Then comes the project management and finance. But last thing, lifelong learning, where to differentiate the correct information and the wrong information. These 12 graduate attributes which are orchestrated to learn and to make it. But in current now there is a changes in the 12 graduate attributes, but you have to remember complex engineering problem, broadly defined activity, well-defined activity we call it. Accordingly, we have to. In outcome-based education, predominantly what we focus is learning is fixed, learning time varies, and individualized education, personalized learning is possible. There is no fight between teacher and the students. There is no dishum. It is only how you make the orchestration. So that is very, very important. The students need to grow organically. That is the responsibility of the teacher, which outcome-based education plays an important role, because from the Sputnik, from Gurukula system, we went into competency-based, outcome-based education. So whether it's right or wrong, debate, it's not a question of debate, it's our future. If you want to make a developed, because I've seen even after education, the people are not traffic conscious. When I'm good driving, I am observing. In US, I observe the people, you have to face the traffic when you're walking. The people haphazardly walk and they get into accident, all issues are coming. So education has not built what we needed. That somehow we missed it. So it is not the question of right or wrong, it's the question of our future. But I don't know whether I provided the information or misinformation, but I cannot try it once again because it's already 12:45. Because the speaker told I have to complete 12:45. But my question to the decision maker is, are we going to win the race? But we are slow, but we are steady. As a populous country, we have to remember we are slow but steady. Our country is doing very vibrantly fantastic in outcome-based education. And NBA has made a hook and corner reach of outcome-based education, especially the Bloom's taxonomy, David Merrill taxonomy, all taxonomy, Milo. Everything has been created an impact. So we are slow, but we are steady. So if you have any doubts, further comment, unanswered issues and unresolved issues, and then you can question me. So with this, I just started the lecture. What exactly outcome-based education? Outcomes are defined. There is a subtle difference between outcomes and objectives. Outcome-based education predominantly focus on teaching learning process. Learning is not the product of teaching, learning is the product of the activity of the learners, and it is purely based on the assessment. And you have to remember, it is not the question of complex learning. It is also a question of well-defined learning and broadly defined learning. And broadly defined learning focusing on technology, well-defined learning is focusing on technician, and complex engineering, it is focusing on the engineering and technology. So if you have any doubts, any questions, any clarity, I will be happy to take the questions. Thank you very much to the organizers. Let us get connected. This is my WhatsApp number and email. If you have any questions, any doubt, you can call me. Thank you very much. Namaste. Jai Hind.
So participants, anyone has any query? Yes, Rajiv? Hello?
Hello.
Yeah. We are
Yes, sir.
Sir, thank you very much for your enlightening sessions and all. सर ये आउटकम बेस्ड एजुकेशन का में जब हम मिशन और विजन जब हम डिफाइन करते हैं सर, तो व्हाट आर द मेन थिंग्स which are to be considered na keeping all these things on the top.
Okay.
Mission or vision, defining mission and vision.
So when you define vision, we need to remember three major ingredients. One is, what is your business? What is your purpose? What is your value? That what we always tell, business, purpose, value, we have to define. So you might think how to know the business, how to know the purpose, and how to know the values. So is it going to be the difference? Because we take example of NBA document itself. Generally what I do, I take NBA vision and mission. I need to teach them what is the NBA's purpose, what is the purpose of NBA, what is the purpose of business, what is the value. So from that, because they want to be international accreditation agency, That is the purpose. But where you remember, they told it is defined by yourself. So that is that. So when you define vision, you should not make a vision for the next year. You should make vision for the next 5 years, which should get aligned with the 3 major ingredients: business, purpose, value. You give me your vision, I will tell you what is the business and what is the purpose and what is the value. I will tell you these 3 ingredients we see. How these 3 ingredients are made into reality, how it has been rolled out. That is what we call it as a mission. So suppose my vision is to make was short vision, I'm telling you, to make Bismillabad in the night. So that is my vision. Okay, mission is what all the items you need to have a Bismillabad. That is a mission. But mission should have 3 major ingredients: business, purpose, and values. Business, purpose, and value. These 3 ingredients are very, very important for the vision statement. So accordingly, the vision will be working on itself. Yes, sir.
So values means core values of the institute and all.
Yes, as an educational institution, we have a core values. So societal transformation or societal development, environment and sustainability, some core values we will be having. National building. So that we call it as a core values. Yes.
Thank you, sir. Thank
Generally,
you so
vision
much.
document, I have some sites. Generally, I used to teach them with Samsonite vision, HP vision, and there is one chicken company is there. They have the vision document. I used to tell them with that statements. I used to go with the vision statement because the lecture is not focused. Because generally, writing a vision is very, very important. Long run, how we have, because it should not have, maximum it should have 20 words, not more than that. 15 to 20 words. We have some limitation. Accordingly, the has to be made and it has to be corrected. Yes, sir.
Okay. Anyone else? From participant sides? So thank you, sir.
Thank you.
For your valuable experience, sharing your experience and giving us lecture with the very nice and live type examples, taking the picture of classrooms and live lectures. Thank you, sir, and we will like to hear you in future also.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
So for participants, our next lecture will start at 2:30. So you all are requested to be there or join online at 2:25. And we will share one Google form which will be for today's feedback and attendance. So your attendance and feedback, if it is up to mark, then only you will be given certificates. So it is my request to all the participants to join in evening session. Thank you. So we will be available at 2:20.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
The feedback form will be shared after the second lecture. No?
Yeah. We will. Okay. It will be shared after second.
So I request you to send it by mail also, because sometimes in this chat box, due to the another messages, we can miss that.
We have one WhatsApp group.
Yeah. There also
group. We will share it there. And it's also my request to all the participants, if you are already in the WhatsApp group, then it's okay. If someone is not in the WhatsApp group, you can personally contact to us and we will provide you link to join the WhatsApp.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you to all.